community outreach. We have a sole purpose while we're here before Yeshua gets back, and that's to spread the gospel, and that's to tell the truth. And you can't tell the truth if you're not living the truth. You hear me? Parents, next time you get after your kids, remember, they can't tell the truth unless you're living the truth. Okay? Remember that. I had to learn that lesson today. Okay? So I'm telling you that was me today. And we got to do that. So tonight we're going to be talking about, I don't know where Jamie is, but she'll get here. All right. Everybody's still jumping on. Welcome, Craig. Welcome, everybody that's here today. I'm so happy all of you guys are here. We're going to clarify some things. Yeah. There's a lot of talk out there. There's a lot of talk about getting your straw man. There's people. That's right. There's people out there that are, telling and making promises of things, and we're gonna talk about some of those tonight. Those of you guys that are on Uber Conference, you're gonna be able to see this. Those of you guys that aren't on Uber Conference, unfortunately, you'll just be able to hear it. But I'm gonna play some examples of just some of the stuff that's just kind of out there floating around, and we need to be careful. So we're gonna put them on pause because that was pretty good music, by the way, everybody. Thank you. They're all here. And Tom has decided to be the crash test dummy of tonight's thing here. Let me see what this is. Hold on a second. All right. So this was an email I actually got today. And it says, quick note. And this is someone asking me about our travel class, by the way. And this is relative because this is talking about the straw person. It says, quick note, I have a commercial driver's license. I put all rights reserved in UCC 1-308, and somehow it got through. And I was at the division of the driver's license last week when the supervisor there told me I had to get a new license per their policy. Only a signature is allowed on the signature space. And when I said it was a contract and I had a right to put that with my signature, the supervisor quoted that this is not a normal contract. You have no rights when signing it. So I told her she had just violated my rights when she tried to get my license. All right, let's just stop with all that. Okay, so let's talk about that for just a minute. This is another situation of not knowing who the straw man is and who the living man is. Okay, because see, it's really not a contract. The driver's license. That's not true. It's not a contract. The driver's license is simply like a dry erase board, sort of. Except it's really hard to erase stuff off of there. But it's like a dry erase board of your life, okay? And they use that so they can handicap you like a horse. You guys ever been to the horse track? And you'll see the ones the 6 furlongs, they ran pretty good, and all that stuff. That's what they do. Well, why would they be handicapping you like this? Well, each and every time you get pulled over, and we'll be talking more about this in my travel class, but each and every time you get pulled over, they're squaring you up. They're trying to figure out what you'll contract for and what you won't. Like used car salesmen. Yeah, pretty much. And they're asking you test questions to try to handicap you. So when these guys tell you, don't answer questions, and they don't know why, that's why. It's because they're trying to ask qualified questions either to get you to tell on yourself or either getting you to tell on yourself. Yeah, both of those. and a lot of times, they're going to use all kinds of means to do that, and they're going to do tricky stuff. And that's why most attorneys will tell you, don't answer questions. Okay. It doesn't mean you're not allowed to talk. It just means that you don't want to, testify against yourself. That'd be a violation of the Fifth Amendment. And for somebody that's on their oath, maybe that's a question you ought to ask them. So again, let's talk about the straw person. The straw person was created, okay, so that they could do commerce on you, okay? And then we were kind of we were kind of fooled and lied to, and they kind of told us that was us on paper back when we got our first report card. Remember that? Man, if I knew what I knew now, back when I got those bad report cards, I'd have said, nope, this isn't me. I would have tossed them in the trash. But we didn't know that stuff back then. But see, they did. And what did they do? They held it, they withheld that information, and they used it as a means of control. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Nothing's changed. They're still using it for a means of control. So the less they know, the better. So to answer this guy's question, he's actually going to take one of my classes, and hopefully we'll get this all figured out, it looks like. Let's go to the next one here. Oops. No, hold on. Sorry, this wasn't supposed to be that kind of a slideshow. A lot of times people will tell you that this is a public process. Well, it is a public process, but there's a private process to this, and that's the more important part. Let me rephrase that. There is a private process to this, okay? And it's all private. And when somebody asks you to put it on something public, I'll give you guys an example. Here's our boy here today. And those of you guys out in TikTok land, you guys can't see it because if you see it, he's gonna cry.
Citing other people's website, right? Right. Well, here's the difference. My idea was to take money from the corporation and give it back to the people. I thought if we could help.
Hold on. He said to take money from the corporation and give it back from the people.
They can take off. But if the people get stopped at level 1, how are they going to ever do it?
Who decided what was level 1?
Take money from the corporation was to give it back to we the people. This ain't a me the people thing. This is we the people, y'all. So when you become a trainer and you go through step 1, it's not that hard. It just is hard.
You can become a trainer now.
So when you help people
for this private process,
answer the questions and show them through it, you get the package money. So our website facilitates the trainers. It's a we the people. It can set you free from the corporation so you can.
Okay, let's just stop that right now because that's just silly. Number 1, qualifiers, you guys, about the straw man. If they're telling you to put yourself on a list, what's free about that? You remember the brown shirts? They made everybody register too back in Germany, and just 6 million people died because of that. I don't see what's private about this. Okay, so let's talk more about the straw man. I'm trying to kill some time because I'm hoping Jamie will get on here. And she's running late. I guess she's running late. Something happened. I don't know. I hope the freezing thing has gotten better out there in TikTok land. So I apologize. Let me know if everything looks good. If it doesn't, we'll do something. I don't know. But the straw man was created to basically fund our country. Okay. Because there's no cash. Do you understand that? There is no cash and silver. Those of you guys that keep reading about HER 192, they suspended it. They took it all away, didn't they? Okay. But because they took it all away, what they did was they created securities out of what we're doing. They monetized us. Now, should they have told us this? Should they have explained all this to us? Yep. And maybe they did. Maybe they did in some kind of way. Maybe we just didn't know. You know? Maybe we just didn't know at all. So tonight I want to talk to you guys. I don't want to go into too much more of this because this Kenny Plaster stuff wears me out. It really does, honestly. Probably the reason I get so stressed. But anyway, let's get back to that. So guys, and I don't see Jamie. Jamie, if you're here, let me know. All right. Well, then don't let me know then. That's fine too. You can do that too. Anyway, I'm kidding. So I want to talk to you guys about this anatomy of the straw man. The straw man was created to mimic every part of you. Okay. The straw man, they even call him a person, right? Well, guess what? There's no persons standing before Yahweh. Okay. He's looking for his vessels. He's looking for his people. And there's them, and then there's everybody else, literally. Okay. There are no sublines. We're not going to have a Baptist line over here. And, you know, it's all in our heart over here. There's not going to be any of that. It's just here or here. And we need to understand that this straw man was created so that you would not be in that line. This straw man was created so that you guys would run around and watch your credit reports more than you would watch your relationship with Yahweh. This straw man was created so that you would go to universities and that you would make investments and you would study and you would show yourself approved, but not biblically. But for what? The purpose of the straw man. This straw man was created to be a utility that constantly needs to have money, needs to have commerce, it needs to have care and things taken care of all the time. Have you noticed that, ladies? How many times have we been to the nail salon over the last 12 months? Especially if you're at Angela's place. I'm just kidding. We got to take care of the straw person. And gentlemen, who's paying for it? Who is paying Angela to do all these nails? You are. Right. And where does that go? Where's the credit for that? It's right there with Angela and any other salon that they might end up at, or boutique, or places they could get their feet rubbed. Whatever. The straw man, and I'm going to tell you, today I went for acupuncture, so I had to take care of the straw man today myself. But the straw man took care of me today, actually. See that? So when you're doing this walk, you need to remember who you are. I'm sorry you missed my call earlier too, but it's okay. We'll make up for it next time. So we have to understand who we are in this process, okay? Those of you guys that are out there learning this process and you're learning all this stuff, I'm hearing a lot of talk about probate court that's out there, okay? That is for the straw person. That is for a deceased entity with a death certificate. That means that there is a witness to the fact that that entity is now dead and closed, like COVID did to lots of businesses. Okay, that's what a death certificate does. It closes the shop. Okay, those of you guys that took my my debt class, we talked about how during a conviction and I'm trying not to spill the beans on the whole class. I don't want to be a gatekeeper by any means, but at the same time, I got to protect some stuff. We talked about people that have criminal convictions. And what happens is with these judges that they're leaving their fictions wide open so they can continue to keep going to the treasury and keep hitting that thing for long-term care, short-term care. Every time they go to the commissary, why do you think that's such a big market? It's a huge market. And if it's a market where people get killed for cartons of cigarettes and things like that, why wouldn't they just stop selling that stuff? You know why? Because they're too busy making money on those guys. See, every time they need to buy something, the state, ching, 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 they're taking care of it for them. These folks, I got questions this week about people asking me about, how do you get out from underneath CPS? It's simple. Stop contracting. Stop doing it. Doing what? Who's taking care of your health care for your kids? Is it the state or is it you? And if it's the state, that's why they're in your backyard. And if it's not, then you need to let them know and they will leave your backyard. Very simply. It's called subject matter jurisdiction. Child support. There's no big secrets there. Stop letting the state take care of your kids, gentlemen. Seriously. You want to make you want to make the nightmare stop? That's what the straw man's doing to you. You know why? Because you don't have control of the straw man. You don't have control because you're too busy trying to keep the lights on. I get it, man. I get it. But you need to know that that's part of the hustle. That's part of the game to keep you busy so that you're not thinking. Getting back to this anatomy and what people are really screwing up on out there is because they're just busy. And has anybody told you that you need to go and I'm just going to throw some of these out there that have been out there. And I've been to the bottom of all these, by the way. So I promise you, I'm not just giving you some empty opinion. I've done this stuff. I tried it. Probate, I tried it. Truthfully, I really tried it. We filed everything. I studied my you-know-what off, and you talk about a hole that yielded nothing. That's exactly what it did. What it almost did was it almost got me arrested. Because I didn't have a death certificate and I was filing something in a probate court, that's fraud. But you're close. Can I tell you you're close? You got the right idea, wrong situation. And so what we need to do is we need to stop guessing. We need to know who this straw man is. This straw man is a deceiver. This straw man is your peanut butter stuck on a mousetrap, and your finger is the one on the end of that thing. Okay? That's who your straw man is. Your straw man is the man that Nicodemus and Yeshua were talking about when they said, do I have to go back in the womb to be born again? But he's talking about the old man and taking and dealing with the old man. He's talking about this straw man. Okay? Back in the day, Yeshua told his people, you pay unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and you pay unto Yahweh what is Yahweh's. This vessel, nothing wrong with it. Angela, nothing wrong with your vessel. And I love the nails you do because I've seen them. They're pretty. But you don't need them, respectfully. I mean, it's cool to have on the weekends and stuff. I get it. But really, in practicality, we don't need them. They don't define us. They don't define the living person. What they do is they define the straw man. The straw man tells you I need a new Corvette every year, even if you can't afford it. I know, he talks to me all the time. He's a jerk. The straw man tells you you can go to the casino and don't care about the kid's college fund. Yeah, the straw man tells you that. The straw man tells you that an average payment in America at $750 a month is okay. The straw man tells you that. The straw man says, go get a mortgage. Don't know anything about it, but just sign it anyway because you just want to get Angela's kitchen. We don't care. We just need to have the kitchen so we can do the nails and we can have everything right or whatever. I'm just saying, this is the straw man. Listen to me, you guys. Listen to me, all of you. He's dangerous. He's Kenny Plaster. That's your straw man, okay? When you see him around, that is your straw man. That's the one that's getting you into trouble all the time. That's the one that gets pulled over by the cops. They're not pulling you over. So how do we change that? How do we change that? Really, I just told you probate doesn't work, right? And I'll tell you my conversation, the judge sat me down, scared the because we went to the back room where they do all their acting and practicing. And I know what they do back there. And we sit back there. And that's why I'm going to tell you, the office I was in had everything in the world you needed to make a decision back there. We had a bar, we had a TV, we had a dartboard, and God knows what else in there. Okay? Way too much stuff for a public official to have in his office. I think it was a bit excessive. But he had a very stern conversation with me, and he told me that I would be committing fraud to file these things. So if Kenny Plaster or anybody else is telling you to file stuff into probate so you can access your trust account, you are wrong as can be. Okay? And you're going to go to jail. I promise you. It will happen because that's exactly what he told me. These IRS people, they're not coming. They're coming for stuff like that. They're coming for people that don't get arrested by the cops, and probably a few cops too. Who knows? That's who they're coming for. And they're getting armed up right now. Guys, be careful, man. This country is under attack. They're trying to protect us, okay? The IRS is trying to protect our trusts. That's their job. Yes, they're not a governmental company. We're not supposed to trust them anyway, right? Remember? Straw man, living man, remember? Remember, people will tell you, oh, they're not even a government place anyway. It doesn't even matter. Well, I mean, that's kind of the opposition in the first place. We could use all the outside help we can get, don't you think, everybody? Come on, man, let's think this through a little bit. All we have to do is think about it, okay? Let's talk a little bit more about this straw guy, okay? He's the guy that's going to contract. He's the guy. Now, Kenny will tell you a lot of times, you don't have to pay taxes and this and that. Well, you know what? If your straw man contracts, that's that straw man again. If your straw man fills out a W-2 with his employer, he's just made an agreement to pay taxes. But not according to Kenny. You can just renege on that stuff just like that. No problem. It's magic. The state nationals rock. No, they don't. And let me tell you why these guys have only been around for a little while is because they're going to They're going to go away really fast. Jamie, you're supposed to be on the Uber conference board. Freedom School. Yeah, you're supposed to be over here. I can't see you over there. I just see I'm here. Anyway, Jamie's finally got here. I see the bus came in late. She must have missed the bus. No, I'm missing it. Anyway, actually, that's a funny thing because actually they are traveling the country right now, and they actually are in an RV. So that was funny. I hope you didn't miss the bus. Tim would be lonely tonight. That'd be unfortunate. Anyway, so let's get back to this. We'll start talking about more of this. I'm going to open this up for any questions. You know, tell me what you guys are hearing out there. What kind of stuff are people telling you to do? Are people telling you to fix your uppercase, lowercase name, and telling you need to go file some stuff with some court that again doesn't have jurisdiction over this, but they're telling you that you need to go upgrade and fix your uppercase name. No, you don't. Your uppercase name is not going to go to heaven with you. I know you want it to, and I know. Do you see that's backwards thinking? We know that's not going to go. We know that's not going to happen, right? Yeah, because it's not. So we've got to be smart about this stuff. Hold on a second. Yeah. Anyway, we've got to be smart about this, and we've got to be thinking about it. And if we're not thinking about it, here's the other thing you need to be doing: praying about it. Oh, I know, such an old-fashioned thing for these millennials these days to go and pray about something. But I can tell you this: one day, all of us are going to be on our faces, and we're going to be praying like you wouldn't believe, and everybody's going to confess. And his name isn't Jesus. I promise you that. That is not going to happen. So I'm just telling you, these things are coming. So why not get ready and do it now? They created the MLM for state nationals. I guess they did. You know, these associations that are publicly available. You realize somebody only has to just hack his 25-cent a month webpage, and now they've got everybody's personal information, and you guys are all on a list. How private is that? Yes, there is a site. Those of you guys that are asking, hey, how you doing, Tim? If you guys want to join us, and because I'm going to open the call for questions. If you want to join us on Uber Conference Board, it's uberconference.com/freedom school. Come on in that way, man. We'd love to have you. So it's Uber, like the car, they call for an Uber, uberconferenceboard.com, or I'm sorry, uberconference.com/freedom school. That's what it is. Uber.com/freedom school. Join us. And I'm going to open this thing up for any questions. Who's got questions about the straw man? Anybody got any questions? I'm going to tell you guys that the straw man is very, very, very limited. The straw man has, no, we're not doing that. The straw man has, it has only a social security number. So there's a lot of folks out there that are telling you that you can go do a W-4 sandwich and a 1099, and you can do all this stuff, and you can do it with your social security number. And can I tell you, that's absolutely wrong. Those are the limits of the straw man. The straw man is chattel, okay? Kind of like cattle. And welcome to the call, Jamie. She got it. She's good. She's good. I mean, she welcome to the call, and you better smile. No stinky faces. There you go. Right on. That's what's up. All right. Welcome, Jamie, to the call. I'm glad you're here. So we've been talking about straw man, and I know you caught some of it here, but we're going to be, the limitations of the straw man. A lot of folks are teaching that you can do all this 1099 stuff with the straw man social security number, and it's a limit. You just can't do that. And the reason why is because, like I was saying, he's a slave. He's chattel property. Okay. He's meant to be the donkey. Yes. And he just pulls the cart. That's all he does. He doesn't do anything else but pull the cart. And if you try to make him do anything else but pull the cart, you're going to get a $5,000 filing fee from the IRS or miscellaneous whatever charge. They're going to charge you for it. Now, if you do get one of those, let me know. We can help you out with that. I'll show you how to make it go away. And that is actually, if you want to call that magical, I guess it could look magical. But the reality is that the straw man has a lot of limits.
Yes.
But the EIN, no limits. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the straw man needs a lot more help than Angela and her nails. They need a lot more help than that. He needs a lot more help than anybody in CoverGirl, taking care of the roots, any stuff like that, or a little road game for Tim maybe. It's so much bigger than it's limited.
It is.
The straw man can provide those things for you, but you can't provide those things for the straw man.
Right.
So what you have is a negative equity relationship, right? You have a bad marriage with yourself. And that is why Yeshua and Nicodemus spent so much time talking about being born again. He just couldn't get it. He didn't understand politically what was going on, but they were creating the legal fiction. What they did was, instead of the individuals being a legal fiction, Rome was the legal fiction. So the legal fiction Rome started controlling all of these things like our straw man does, similar to that. And then later, as things got evolved and the Statue of Liberty, became a cross-dresser and all that stuff started to happen, then we've got this. We've got what we have now, and that's commerce and economy. So your straw man is a mule. It's a donkey. You know what? When your wife calls you a jackass, guys, just nod your head. Because if you just say she must be talking to the straw man. That's all. Best comeback I got for you on that one. But I'm telling you, it's true. We have to define the straw man every day. And when you're walking with Yahweh, you also have to define yourself each and every day. Do we not? Do we not have to repent every day from the things? So these things come from the straw man. They come from this fiction. So when we start surrounding and worshiping this legal fiction, how much am I being paid? I'm not being paid anything, stupid. Just listen. Just listen. Trust me, I know this is hurting your programming. And those of you guys that got your heads washed by David Straight.
Yes.
It's not straight, it's crooked. I just wanted y'all to know that. It's like this. David Straight. See the S? If it was really straight, it wouldn't have an S.
That's right.
See, I'm just telling you. So listen. Nobody's getting paid for anything, dude. I've just been down this road and I know what's up.
Right.
How much if you were hired to fix it, and how long does it take, and what can you do? Well, dude, this is not a body shop and I'm not Mako. And it's so much different than that. But I'm going to tell you, okay? Here's what it takes. You guys ready? You ready? I'm going to tell you. Jamie, you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm going to tell you. You need to understand that your straw man is like a bad child that doesn't know how to behave. Okay? He's going to get you into trouble everywhere. Every time you fill out an application and he's going to make you do it. He's going to make you do it because he's just going to make you do it. I can tell you, I've spent 22 years in the car business, and every car I ever bought was an emotional purchase, all on the straw man. I blame it on him. I should have just kept the Toyota. Who cares if it's leaking? But the straw man said, I got to look good, and everything's got to look. Did you see those guys on TV? Did you see what happened out here? And that straw man is going to pull you in every time. So how do we fix that? All right, here comes the part. Everybody get on your faces. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. We don't do altar calls here.
Why?
That's all personal stuff. That's between you and Yahweh. We don't do any of that public stuff like that. We don't need to. Okay, you're not getting married. You don't need to make a public anything. You just need to handle that with Yahweh. And I'm going to tell you that's where it's done. So how do we do it? We take the straw man and we disable him. We don't put him in probate court, because he's not dead. I mean, he is dead, but he's supervised, okay? And the supervisor isn't dead yet. But we need to change fiduciaries. So this falls into like a guardianship kind of situation. That's starting to make sense now. So if you have a guardian situation and you're taking care of somebody else, and you have a business that does that, guess what you can do? You can start discharging all their stuff, because that's what your employer does. Does he not? Those of you guys that filled out your W-2s, he's discharging all his money off your stuff, So if you can be mad at the game, or you can learn the game.
Right.
And I'm all about learning the game, Jamie. I don't want to lose this game anymore. We're all getting gray hair. Our backs are going out more than we do. We know we're getting old. Our kids are messing with us, and they're calling us old and broken and everything else. So we got to prepare for what is right, and we've got to get the straw man under control. Why do you go to work every day, Jamie? Or why did you do this every day? Do you do it for yourself? Do you do it for your kiddos? Do you do it for your family? Who do you do this stuff for?
Well, I did it to begin with because you have to provide.
Right?
And then when you learn that you have to provide and you're not going to eat without it, you're not going to buy anything without it, you're not going to, you're just not going to get through life. If you don't have
So an easy way to say that is that you have beneficiaries in your life that benefit from your labor, right? Right? TikTok land. Can we all agree on that? Hey, dude, the broken programming, you got that? Come on, man. I'm not getting paid for this. This is good stuff. Go ahead. Hey, Jonathan, how are you, brother? Good to see you.
Yeah,
so it makes sense. We all have a beneficiary. We all have a purpose, right? Those of you guys that are real men out there, I know you all are, by the way, but well, I don't know about you out here in Veer, but I know everybody on the call is. So those of you real men out there that take care of your kiddos, those are the beneficiaries of what you do. When you go out and you break your back every day, if that's what you do, and I'm going to tell you, I was a landscaping contractor. I used to put it down pretty hard. And you know what? I did it for my kids.
Yes.
But it was all indirect, Jamie.
No.
See, I didn't have a way to funnel it to them, because what happens if I don't go to work? What happens, Angela, if we don't go to work? They don't eat, right?
No.
You can't be there. You can't do it, huh? Because there's nobody to run your ship.
No one's going to help you.
Well, I'll help you, and some of us will help you, but generally speaking, no, nobody's going to help you. They'll steal from you, though. They will show up with open arms, ready. Especially, never mind. But but what I'm saying is that that's where things turn off and turn on. Those are the limits of the straw man. Okay,
yeah,
because there's only one person running the ship. The straw man goes down, it goes down. What happens at Walmart? What happens if the manager doesn't show up? That sucker is still opening, and they are still selling fruit, aren't they? You know why? Because they got a plan, Jamie, and they've got people in place to do it.
Right.
So those of you guys that are trying to figure out all this straw man, living man, broke man, whatever you're trying to figure out there, I'm going to tell you.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, Jamie. Do you know what? These guys, they want you to stay where you're at.
Yes,
they want to keep you where you're at, right?
Right.
So how do we change that? We put them under contract. Put the straw man under contract. Can't we contract him for everything else? You can contract the straw man away for a life sentence. If you can contract away the straw man for a life sentence, you can certainly contract him away and make him pay your bills.
I've heard.
Right?
I've heard about this, but I didn't invest too much in it because the person I was listening to, I'm very, I'm cautious.
Sure.
And I know you know your stuff, and intelligence is very, very big in your brain. So
you're awesome. Thank you. That's sweet.
I tend to listen when you talk, and I usually do a little bit of investigation behind everybody. So as you know, I continue speaking with you, and I believe that you have this ability, and your understanding is it's in depth. You know what you're talking about. And I believe that.
So quick question though. So in David's camp, I mean, I know that he kind of touches on the straw man, and we need to put him under submission. I mean, how far does that really go? I mean, do we get past the stables, or do we just get through the conversation and that's it? We just talk about it.
Let me explain to you all that are following David straight. Going to court, you're going to walk right through those little beautiful doors that he'll tell you don't walk past. And the judge says, you're going to walk past him, because if you don't, you're going to prison. But David Straight says, the straw man says, you don't have to. So the whole thing, after day and night, investing and learning and learning and learning, and more than learning, listening, and totally following one person, him, and not doing my own investigational work on some of this stuff that he was saying until later, when I did it later and found out that it wasn't so true. But here I sit in front of a judge, a ninth chief district judge.
And you couldn't separate yourself from your straw man, not like he said, right? You couldn't just say, no, I'm going to leave him here and I'll see you guys later. I'm going to lunch, right? That couldn't happen, huh?
All that hard work out the door. It did me no good. That judge didn't care what I had to say about the straw man. As a matter of fact, he tried to say, we've heard this before. We're not listening to this.
So they have heard this stuff before. And I'm going to tell you that they have. I'm going to tell you, I talked to Kayla. I don't know. I talked to her a while back, and I'm kind of hoping she hasn't been locked up or anything, but I know that she's still dealing with her struggles, and she's just never gotten a hold of it. And here's why, you guys. It's because we don't know where the straw man ends and begins. That's just truth.
That is
and nobody taught us. They slid us into this on the first grade and says, here's your report card, and there was your legal fiction for your first time. It was the first time you saw it.
We've been brainwashed, and we've been, you're supposed to just do as you're told and just go along with life. But the truth be told now.
So what we do now in this process Jamie's about to start taking the classes too. She hasn't even, so one of the reasons I asked Jamie to be on the call is because she hasn't taken any of the classes. She doesn't know anything, she knows a lot of stuff, but she doesn't know anything about what I teach specifically because she hasn't sat through the class. She knows a little bit about it, but not much. But more important than that is that I wanted her to have a fresh exposure to this. What is the straw man? Who is he, and where is he at, and what does he really do for you? And I'm going to tell you, he lies to you. He's going to lie to you constantly. He's going to make you go down and tell you that every kiss begins with K, because it doesn't. It doesn't. Adam and Eve didn't need K jewelers, and I'm sure they were doing their thing a lot. So, obviously they had a lot of kids. So, something had to happen there. There was no artificial insemination, I'm sure. So anyway, that's another story. But what I'm saying is that we have to get control of the straw man. And the way to get control of the straw man is contracts. Contracts. And your contract better be good. One of the things that I do when I help people with cases is that I handicap the cases right away. The first thing I do when I'm looking at a traffic ticket, is I go through the traffic ticket and I look for defects. Yep. I look for something that's not right. So when you contract with your straw person, if somebody has a commercial security agreement or something, you better read it, and it better make sense. Not like a whole bunch of words and it just looks good and let's hurry up and get this paperwork done. You need to read it and understand it. Because I'll tell you, after I filed mine, and I shared a lot of this with my classmates this past weekend, but when I filed mine, I had a 4'11" woman at the Secretary of State's office that scared me out of my skin, Jamie. And she asked me, I thought I had all my paperwork ready. Everything was good. She asked me, she says, can you prove that you're a transmitting utility? Well, it was in my paperwork, but Damron didn't read his paperwork and he didn't know it that well. He was just trying to get it done. Matter of fact, he even pushed it off on his wife and had her type some for a little while too. So I'm going to tell you, when I get on you guys and tell you about this, I'm telling you out of personal experience, okay? Because I've made all these mistakes and there's no reason for you guys to make any of them, okay? None, not a single one. Or even after my husband's paperwork, I have learned, oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Angela, you're sweet. So I'm going to tell you guys, we have to know who this straw person is in everything that we do. And if your spiritual side is turned off and you're not feeding it and you're not acknowledging it, ladies, gentlemen, all of you are here today. All of you are watching today because Yahweh has chose you and woke each and every one of you up to this truth. Not everybody sees this. You're very special, Jamie. All of you. Very special. Angela too. Everybody's very special. And you know what? There's few that are chosen for this walk. Few.
You can't You can't, we're all here for a reason.
That's right.
And
So
we are at this point to set the generational curses. Anyways, we're here to fix what our grandchildren and our children should never have to face. And to hopefully fix that so that they're never going to have to deal with life where we're heading.
Real quick, somebody asked a question. It says, I'm starting my process. Do I need to have my thumbprint on my birth certificate on the state level? No, you do not. As a matter of fact, that would be considered erasure, and that would they would and don't sign it either, and don't mail it off to the Treasury either. Please don't do any of that, because what will happen is you're just going to waste a bunch of money, get really busy for nothing. It's going to do nothing, right, Jamie? How many people have you seen mail those things off to the Treasury? Does it work?
It did
Anybody?
nothing. It did nothing, folks. Not all you're doing is setting yourself up for failure.
And to be put on a list.
It does you nothing. I wasted so many days and nights and money and nonsense to put me in a position probably that was worse than I was to start with.
Right? Yeah, totally. And there's a lot of these processes out there. And can I tell you, the only process you really need to learn is get to know who your creator is. He's not in a church building. Your pastor, he probably doesn't know him either. I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend him. I'm sorry. He don't know him. If he doesn't have the fruits, if he doesn't observe the days, if he doesn't observe the feasts, Yahweh doesn't know who that guy is. Messiah didn't die for him. And I'm sorry, that's a painful reality for a lot of people to hear. But like I said, there's the line of the doers and the not doers. We've got to get ourselves in line. Listen, there are 5 red heifers that just left Texas a couple of days ago, headed for Israel. Yeah. And and I sent you the video on that. They're going to be sacrificed. They're going to be sacrificed in another 11 months. And that's when all this stuff starts. And these are perfect. These are perfect, unblemished red calves. And this is as scriptural as it comes, man. Hey, man, it's not popular, but it is what it is.
It's in our face.
It is, absolutely. So what we need to do is we need to find ourselves some balance. We need to find ourselves a better way to do things. I'm going to check here and see if anybody's got any questions in Facebook land. Good to see you guys. Thank you, Tony, for being here. Tori, good to see you too, brother, by the way. I'm going to open up the floor too. If there's anybody else has questions, comments about your straw person, please ask me. I'll tell you. Don't be a chicken. If you don't ask, you won't know. And then you'll just be mad. You'll just be mad at yourself. And then you'll blame it on me if you're a narcissist. I'm sure.
So I'm reading one of these. Somebody's asking, do you mail it to your state to have it authenticated? I'm not laughing.
Who said that? Where'd you read that at?
I'm Sean Surger.
Oh, here we go. Sean, okay. Do you mail it to your state and have it authenticated? Yes, Sean, you're going to do it. You're going to do it on a state level, and then you're going to send it and get it authenticated on a federal level. But you need your certificate of live birth, not the birth certificate. But some of you, that's all you can get. And if that's all you can get, you get what you can get. But the better way to go is to make sure you get your long form certificate of live birth. Let me show you what one of those looks like. I can't show everybody in TikTok land. I'm sorry, because somebody will see it and they'll cry. But anyway, this is what mine looks like, everybody. And it's authenticated. And so when this means is when it says up here, you're entitled to the full faith and credit, this doesn't mean you have an American Express card. I know a lot of people think that. Hey, just take it out. It's accepted everywhere. And it's true. It is accepted everywhere. But you have to have a lien. You have to have a perfected lien in order to really have that. So where you need to be headed with that, Sean, is ultimately you need to be filing a lien of some sort and perfecting a lien against your straw person. And then by having that document, full faith and credit, that entitles you to get paid. Does that make sense?
Boy, it does to me, but I sure can't wait to get in your class.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
I've heard a lot about this, like I said, but I want to know this process and understand the difference. There's differences.
Real quick, I'm going to answer this question. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Hold on a second. Angela Reed had a really good question. She says, how does this work for my grandson you're raising? It's perfect. So what you need to do is you need to create a trust that oversees him and takes care of all of his bills and all of his stuff, so that that burden, instead of you carrying that burden gets carried by your trust. And then all of his expenses for school, and you don't have to get mad at mom for not paying child support anymore and not helping out with the baby anymore. Once you set this relationship up, you'll be able to do discharge like you're supposed to, but you don't do it yourself.
I have some questions. What about a divorce? Like, for instance, my daughter's going through a divorce and she's trying, and let's not get into the whole spiel of who's got the kids and whatever. But bottom line is she needs to be protected with those children in her care. And she has, custody. She's not going to go through the courts to make that decision.
Okay. So what she needs to do is she needs to create a trust, create the beneficiaries, and then create the rules. And that is your divorce decree, and that's it.
And do you just get that certified?
Yeah. Well, when you take the class, I'll show you. I'll show you how to do it when we take it.
That's one of my questions I keep forgetting to ask you about. And
we'll set it up. We set that up in class. That's a relationship you set up in class. So you can set this relationship up with your straw person, somebody that you're taking care of. If you have a parent, a grandparent that you're taking care of, if you have any kind of guardianship, if you've got anything like that, this is a process for you so that you can recoup, some of those finances, because I know that stuff gets really expensive.
It does. It most certainly does.
So understand that's how the United Way is doing it. They're not really just living on donations. They're just sending out 1099s. And what's really cool is that once you set it up and you set it up properly, you can do what they call a 1099 LTC, which is a long-term care form. And last time I checked, they were getting $4,500 a month for those. I have a question. Wouldn't that help if you were taking care of your?
That would be awesome. I mean, can you imagine what that could do for people?
This is how handicapped people end up with $25,000 wheelchairs that they can now stand up and go get married to. Everybody, the light's turning on, everybody.
I'm reading a lot. Well, I'm not reading. I'm seeing a lot of TikToks about the 1099A.
Yes. And you know what? I think the biggest error that I see with the 1099A discussion, should it be a foreign trust? Hold on, real quick question. Should it be a foreign trust? Only if you're living on foreign soil. Only if you're living on foreign soil. That means you don't live here. No, that means you don't live in America. Okay. It means you're on another continent. That means you are under another government. That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead with what you're saying. I'm sorry.
Well, the 1099A, I'm hearing there's a lot of discrepancies, and I have never understood. You hear so many things. The one says don't use it, you'll go to prison. The other says no, you won't. And to use the 1099 to pay bills or debt or so forth with your. Well, it goes back to the straw man. So here we are trying to decipher. You're separating, you're going to separate those, but at the same time, you've got, it's like I said, you need to know who we're talking to and who to listen to, because again, Tim here is very knowledgeable. And if I had listened to David straight on this, I probably would have been in prison again. But the 1099 is one that I had that question with. What's the difference?
The 1099A.
I have a question.
Go ahead. Let me get hers real quick, and then I'll get yours, Robert. Hold on for just a second. Because I tried to get to her twice, and I bumped her off because I just did. I can't bump her off again.
So I can come last
tonight. I promise.
I want to answer your questions, Tim. That's okay.
She's in an RV, man. She'll come by. She's mobile, man. I'm afraid. So just watch out with Jamie. Anyway, so listen, the 1099A is an acquisition for abandoned property. The biggest mistake I see is that people are trying to assess taxes before they actually are there. You cannot assess abandoned property if you haven't made the purchase. It's simple pimple, man. So I'm going to Yeah, people that are saying this, people are saying that you can go out and buy stuff like this and sign the back of it and all that. No, 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 no. It's not how it works. You have to complete the transaction. Okay. So those of you guys, let me just give you a car scenario. Okay. I shouldn't even do this, but I'm going to.
What they're using.
Otherwise, I'm just a big fibber. So I don't want to be a fibber. I'm going to show you guys. Okay. Here's a perfect tax scenario on how to use the 1099-A. Ready? Okay.
Ready.
Okay, he's ready. All right. So this is what you do. You go in and you buy your car. Okay. When you see your finance contract.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. We'll shoot him in a second. No, I'm kidding. We like dogs. I'm just kidding. Hey, Tim, how you doing, buddy? Hold on. I'm going to meet you guys out. Get that under control. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, you come back in a second. So what you do is you take the number. Okay. When you look at your contract at the top, the truth in lending statement, there's that big number on the far right. And that says the worst case scenario, like the biggest, you're like, the finance guy says, and this is how much it's going to be if you make all your payments, all 84 payments with all your interest and all your everything. Okay. When you leave the car dealership, they monetize that contract for exactly that amount. So if you want to use your 1099-As, right? Send a 1099-A for that to the dealership. Why? Because their CFO went and monetized that sucker and he cashed it. Yeah, that's what happened. And you know what? Being that they just pass off all of our property off to the state, I say they deserve it. So you know what? That's a free nugget for everybody. Those of you guys want to learn more about using the 1099-As properly and with a CPA, not at home banging it out with some crayons and a typewriter. Don't do that. That's not for you to do. You have professional people out there that will do that for you. Robert, go ahead, brother.
So my question is, what is the benefit exactly of having your birth certificate?
Yeah, like authenticated
on the state. Yeah, authenticated on the state and federal level.
So in my process, what we do is we bind up the straw man, and part of that process is that we perfect a lien against the straw man. And when you are the holder in due course, that means that you're entitled to get paid. So when you authenticate these birth certificates or certificates of live birth for foreign travel, what it says is that if you drive a taxi through the hotel in Taiwan, then now they've got something they can go back to the State Department and say, hey, Robert drove this right through 3 McDonald's and he broke them all and he's got to fix it in the rental car too, and he's in jail. So we need all this and we need to get paid. They take that to the State Department. They give them a complaint, just like we do here in the U.S. And because they're guaranteed to get paid, they're going to get paid. So we perfect a lien against our straw person for that very same purpose. I bet you none of your teachers are teaching you that out there because they don't know. They're just busy, you know. Did that help?
Yes.
So, and I'll show you what one of those looks like. I'll show you what a perfected lien looks like. Here's one right here.
Okay.
There's a financing statement right here. And there's a lien in, and then the lien is in the back. It's in here. And it stays in here until we need to pull it out. So think of it like this. If you've ever left your car at the mechanic shop and you didn't pay the bill, that mechanic's going to take your car. You know why? Because he's the holder in due course and he's holding that thing and he's got labor in it and you sign a contract for him to work on it. So by making another contract or perfecting that lien slides you into first position on your straw man. And that's where you need to be. Otherwise, everybody else is going to come after him. Does that make sense? Like they already are, honestly. That's what they already do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the only thing that I'm not understanding is if your straw man was created as a trust.
But there's nobody to manage it. There's no fiduciary to manage your trust. That's the problem. So you have to create something to manage it. Otherwise, you're just a sovereign citizen. That's my joke on Wednesday nights. But no, seriously, you're just somebody with a bunch of paperwork in your glove box. It doesn't mean squat, really. You got to have some paper behind all this stuff, and you've got to have your paperwork noticed, accepted, and witnessed. Those are really key things when you're dealing with these people in their temples. It's a big deal. That help?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to put together how it all works, considering there's no money.
Well, there isn't any money, but there's the ability to discharge. So what you're doing is so right now, what you're doing for your straw man, you're getting no credit for. Nothing. You're just going to work, you're going through the motions, and you're like the little donkey going up and down the fields. That's all you're doing. Now, you can be the guy attached to the donkey with the trailer, with the, I want to say trailer, but the carriage or whatever. And you could be, and you and the donkey could do this. And that's a much better gig, because then you're the guy holding the clipboard instead of the one picking the strawberries.
So you can make that trust work for you?
I've done it
filing a lien on it?
Correct. Well, the trust is that what happens is you put the lien to protect everything else. Robert, this is a 3-hour discussion, but I'm going to try to make it quick and easy for you, okay? Because it's the UCC and trust class is a 2-day, 6-hour class. So it is a long class. And believe me, we get to know each other really well during that class. Not that well, but well enough. Anyway, so we get to know each other pretty well about straw man and things like that. But in a nutshell, what you're doing is you're taking the straw man off the public record, okay? Have you ever seen a special need person in jury duty? You ever seen that happen? You know why? Because somebody took them off the books. So that's what we got to do. We got to take him off the books, so you're not that beautiful gazelle out in the middle of the field for them to come pounce on, because that's what they'll do. Make sense? So this is a commercial market, and what you have to do is you have to really paper yourself up and make sure you're protected. Otherwise, these pirates will come after your ship. These guys that set themselves up and think that they can just go do their own thing, like Derek Gonzalez and some of these other U-Haas, you got to be really careful with these guys because they're reckless, okay? You don't want to be reckless. You don't want to be starting wars with countries and stuff like that. You need to be worried about you and your beneficiaries, and most importantly, your relationship with Yahweh. That's going to keep you balanced in everything that you do. I swear this isn't church talk. Don't go to church. I don't go to church, okay? You won't find them there. I looked. Yes, I would like to do an interview, set up a class. Cool, man. Sean, if you want to do that, just send me an email at emmett.damron@yahoo.com. That's EMMETT. I'm just going to type it here on the messages here for you guys. But those of you guys out there, there you go. Drop me an email, man, and we'll schedule a pre-class interview, and we can go through more questions, and we can talk about more of your personal stuff that you probably don't want to share here. Look at that cutie. And I see you, Jonathan. That's a beautiful look at that face. Oh, look at that face. What a cutie. My dog's gonna get jealous. He's coming over here now.
Emailed you. You emailed me back about the classes. I just need to set up the interview, and I need to set up a time for maybe taking classes, because the time that you have classes, I'm at work.
No, that's totally cool. And I do classes. I move them around for everybody. So those are just classes that other people had set. And then what I do is I interview people to make sure, number one, we don't have any cuckoo birds in our class. And number two, to make sure that we have like-minded people in the same class. So I try to put people that are a little bit more advanced in the advanced classes, and then people that are a little less advanced, I put them in a little bit slower classes, because it just helps people kind of grow together and nobody feels left behind. I'm all about that. So I don't want you to be left behind or anything like that. So we want to make sure you get everything. Now, anybody that takes a class with me, and I'm glad this is going off TikTok. Don't tell people on TikTok about this, but if you take a class with me, you get invited to a private page. It's all a freedom page. We got a few hundred members in there, and a couple hundred members, and we'll help you out with whatever's going on. Stuff happens, we get tickets. Your grandson gets a ticket. your aunt gets a ticket, somebody gets somebody harassed from the tax board, something happens, okay? And you know what? That's why we're here. We're here to help you guys. And we're here to help each other too, most importantly, and our family. So what is the correct way of putting your copyright and trademark in the Register of Deeds? Okay, well, number one, you do not put any of that stuff there. You don't. That's just not how it's done. It's the right procedure. I mean, it's the right law, but wrong procedure. Yeah, you don't file that into the Register of Deeds. I don't know who told you that. Jamie, is that David Straight stuff? When they say that filing stuff into the Register of Deeds, the trademark, is that David Straight stuff? Hold on.
We didn't get that far. His basic thing to me was how to speak, how, and then we would put stuff on the record, and then we would send stuff to the Secretary of State, and my birth certificate, and just, oh my gosh, you guys don't waste your time. Like I said, you need to get on with Tim. He's knowledgeable, and you're going to save yourselves a lot of pain, a lot of stress, and a lot of emotional stress that will come with David Straight.
I'm
not telling you this to be, I'm not being belligerent. I'm not being disrespectful. As a person that knows him very well, personally, stop following him. Stop. You guys will do nothing but put yourselves in a lot of bad positions. It's not worth any of it. And for those that have followed him and don't know yet that they need to stop following him, get a hold of somebody that has known him.
Right.
I'm happy to explain it. But yeah.
Real quick, hold on a second. Somebody's asking me for my email. Email address again is emmett.damron@yahoo.com. That's EMMETT. So that's 2 E's, 2 M's, 2 T's. So EMMETT.DAMRON@yahoo.com. Does having the birth certificate from Puerto Rico affect your process? Not at all. Doesn't affect anything at all. You could have a birth certificate from Honolulu. I mean, it wouldn't matter, or even from Taiwan. It wouldn't matter. As long as you're a citizen here and you've got your paperwork kind of together here, then we can take care of the straw man that they created here. Greetings, everybody. Glad you guys are here. Thank you, TikTok. Thank you, everybody. Any other questions? Anybody else? Any other input? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jamie.
No, that's okay. I want you to answer some of the.
Okay, to Apostle, my birth certificate, do I send it to the Secretary of State? Yes. Send it to the Secretary of State, and then you send it to the Secretary of State. Both of them. That's right. Both of them. All right. Any other questions, comments? Man, I'm going to thank all of you guys for being on the call tonight. Jamie, I'm so glad you're here.
Hey, Tim, can you hear me?
Always, brother. Always, man. With you guys, always. It's always been good. Go ahead.
Hey, my name is Jeff. I just found you on TikTok maybe like 2 weeks ago.
Awesome, Jeff.
This is my first call in. I have a question now.
Go ahead.
I have a lien. I have a lien from the IRS for like $70,000. Would a 1099A work to pay that off?
No, you want to probably, I'll tell you the best success I've had with that, honestly, and that I've seen really good, really just people have good success is the A for V process. But you got to get a presentment from the IRS as to how much you owe. So you might want to call them and say, hey, I'm ready to settle things up, but I need you to send me a presentment.
Okay.
And then you know what? Throw me an email. And I'll help you out with that.
Okay. I'm driving down the freeway in California right now, so I'm sitting in traffic.
Driving in the freeway in California.
Yeah, it's chaos.
And everybody
it's Emmett,
EMMETT.
That your ETT.
Dot.
Okay.
DAM, Daniel, Adam, Mary. Richard.
Daniel, Adam.
Richard. Oscar, Nancy.
Oscar, Nancy.
At yahoo.com. Yes, I know a lot about trust. That's what we're talking about, actually. We're talking about the trust and the straw man tonight. That's actually what we're talking about. Actually,
Yeah,
we're about to
I
finish.
just got off maybe 10 minutes ago.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad you're here, man, and I'm sorry you're stuck in traffic. But drop me an email, and we'll definitely set up an interview, and I'll help you out with that thing. Okay?
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I appreciate you as well, brother. Thanks for calling in, everybody. Guys, anybody got anything else?
Yeah, Tim, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just found out today that back April 2021, I set up to get gas turned on to my to our airplane hangar, and it was never turned on yet. I was being billed. So I called them today, and they said that I wasn't paying for the service. I was just paying to have it. Because, so they said because I never filled out a COVID form to have the person come and connect it.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Couple things. They've amended your contract after the fact by entering that COVID thing. So that's the first red flag I saw. Go ahead.
Okay. So I told them, so we were never in contract yet. I was being billed. I said, so when am I getting my money back? And they said, they set up a time with me tomorrow to get it connected, and that they were going to refund the money. But I was wondering, when I go there, I'm going to make sure that they're not trying to backdate the contract. If they do I just cross it off and put that day's date, or do I have to tell them to come back with a different contract?
Oh no, I don't think they're gonna. It just depends on what they come up with. But here's the thing: if things are not, are you afraid like they're gonna backdate the contract to try to cover up the refund that they did?
Yes.
Okay. Well, just wait until you get there.
Okay.
And if you don't like it, you know what? You could tell them I'm not happy with those terms. Let me get back with you in 3 days.
Okay.
That's your right to contract. You can do that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, man. I want to thank everybody for being on the call. Jamie, I want to thank you for being wonderful as always. Angela, you're always just a blast to have and always fun to poke at. So I appreciate you being here as well. Jonathan, Robert, your questions were amazing. Sean, thank you for your input. I love Rowlett, Texas, man. Love that. But I went to Lakeview Centennial High School. I did my last year of high school out there. Yeah, I can't tell you how many tickets I got going over that bridge. I learned a lot about travel going over that bridge. Let me tell you, that Rowlett Bridge. Anyway, I want you guys to have a wonderful week. We're going to see you guys next Monday night at 6 p.m. Jamie and I will have our crap together much better this next time. But you know what? I think she did pretty good. And I think everybody should give her a little golf clap because she did pretty good. And I think she's the bomb. I think she's the bomb. And she's a survivor, you guys. You know what? We got to have her here because she just lived. She lived and she made it through all of that DS stuff without going to jail. So, you gotta, that says something for her. Anyway, I'll see you guys next week at 6 p.m. Central Time. Jamie and I are both going to be on the call. We appreciate you guys. Yahweh loves you. So do I. Those of you guys that are interested in signing up for tomorrow's call, or tomorrow's class, I'm going to be getting paperwork out late tonight because of all the stuff that I'm getting and coming in. So all of you students, please be patient with me on that. It'll probably be the afternoon. But I will see you guys tomorrow. What does that say? Oh, no, you know what? I was going to do that first, but we're going to do that next week. So I'm not telling you guys. I'm not telling them. She said David Straight's phone number, but I'm not saying nothing else about that tonight. Y'all going to have to wait till next week. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. That's right. We're going to be having fun next week. So you guys have a beautiful week. Remember to put Yahweh first. Keep him in the center, man. And you'll be there too, man. You guys be blessed in all you do. We'll see you guys next week. Good night.
Take care.
See you tomorrow.
Good night. See you guys tomorrow.